you ever lift your head up from your phone, look around, and think to yourself, my God, everything is weird? Well, we do. A lot. This is the Observation Station, a unique, entertaining, and hilarious podcast. If we observe it, we talk about it. Anything and everything. Anything and everything. Let's get weird and let's have some fun. This is the Observation Station. And now your host, Tommy Heights.
What's going on, everybody here? I'm glad that you could make it back to another episode here at the Observation Station. Today we have the episode of Cooking at Home, but I wanted to review the last episode with Modern Dating. And this Cooking at Home would be a great segment from Modern Dating because now that a lot of people are just stuck at home all the time, this is going to give you a different angle of why actually learning to cook at home is going to make your life much more enhanced overall here. So wanted to say here, guys, this is going to be a little bit of a take on what I've been doing over the pandemic and cooking to show you this is what I've had experience with. Everybody's mileage may vary. So a couple things here is you guys already can tell when you're going to the grocery store, the prices are very, very exorbitant now, especially if you have it where you're seeing like milk or cheese, anything. I mean, the products now are just, they're not going down in price anytime soon here. So sometimes you have to source it maybe differently. Sometimes a farmer's market, you might have it where you get cheaper ingredients and they're natural. So that's a different option. But what I've been seeing is when I go out to eat, the prices are having to keep up with inflation also, is that you're going to be spending minimally like $50 or $60 if you're going to be going out on a Friday night with tip. So this is going to be alleviating all the unnecessary spending on mediocre food that you're going to be getting at the bar and you have 2 beers because it's just way out of whack. I mean, they're going to give it to you where they give you a small burger and a couple of fries and it's like, yeah, this is $27. Oh, that's a joke. Especially like, I guess the only way you can get away with prices barely is just going during happy hour. If that's, if you can make it. Another thing is like natural ingredients. I've been trying to see how to cook different cuisines, like Indian food, because every time I have, an Indian restaurant's food there, you never really feel bloated. And when I went to India, a lot of the food there has so many different spices that you're just not even used to, but I have an open mind. So I try to see what kind of foods there are, so maybe I can try to make it at home because I have the internet and there are Indian grocery stores that you can source the same kinds of spices to make it. Though the new skills also that come out of cooking at home are another really big thing for people that are kind of scared of starting something where they have to, basically, it's all on them. I mean, unless you could do a cooking class, which I highly suggest. That's great for meeting people too and getting some skills like knife skills. I've been taking some cooking classes. This Thursday, I'm going to be learning how to make ahi tuna poke bowls. So that's going to be making the food that costs $26 over here in South Florida every time you want to get a poke bowl. So it's like, well, let me see how I can make it myself, save a whole lot of money, and definitely get the variations down because you always see there's like 15 or 16 variations. So you want to get all those little ingredients. And it's just so cool to feel accomplished. Like, yeah, I'm making this myself. And you get to source way better ingredients than a lot of these tuna poke restaurants because at the end of the day, they might have to get like a little bit lower quality of a fish so they can end up making the margins where even if maybe if you want to even it out or, in pricing or, you're splurging, you can go and actually get very, high quality tuna to make it at your house. If you have a significant other, or maybe you and some kids would like to eat it, whatever you like, but just different kinds of food. I mean, I've learned how to make quinoa. I have an instant pot trying to make different foods that are better for your system, because every time I travel and you go and eat the local cuisine, you never feel bloated. You don't feel like, oh my gosh, like after Thanksgiving meal, like every time you eat almost. Here in the States, a lot of the meals, even if it's like a healthy meal, you still sometimes, I don't know what, even if it's potatoes, I don't know what it is. If it's all the additives in the soil or the problem is with the food processing here, but it's amazing when you go to the different countries how the food just tastes different. Even like a potato, even if it's the same kind of species of potato, it has a very rich taste to it. It's like, wow, this is phenomenal. So the food's just made differently over here, and I know that they just put a lot of chemicals in the food, so it has altered taste because that's how it can have shelf life longer on the grocery supermarket stock shelves. Because honestly, milk is really only supposed to stay, good for 2 days or 3 days. I mean, like real milk, all that stuff they put into the milk, that's what gives me acne, actually. So I've been really holding back on milk too. I was just trying to learn of what things that were just not good for my body, and milk was one of them here. That they just put so many different things inside of it. It's just what causes inflammation. So if we take a look at what's causing, our health problems, like eating McDonald's or stuff all the time, you can't be saying, oh, I just can't understand what's going on here. And then you're slurping on some 64-ounce big gulp, and you're thinking, oh, my stomach always is hurting. I'm always out of energy. It's like, look at yourself. I mean, you can't be. I mean, this is just unbelievable how people just in a country where we have access to so much. And then you go, well, healthy food costs so much. Well, it costs money to drive all the way out to the fast food with the gas prices, sit there and then wait in line, then order the food that's not the same prices as it was they were 2 years ago. Then you have a couple kids there. You're adding all those meals, and then you have to drive back. And then it's like, well, if you even all that out, you could just have been at home eating a nice steak, and it would have been probably cheaper. The math isn't always there with people, and that's where they get themselves in trouble. That's why they have bad credit. It's just that people aren't running the numbers of what it costs to do what they do. It's even if it's not monetary, it's in your body. Things cost. If you're not going to be taking care of yourself and you're just going to be putting, fast food's not even food. That's like cardboard with spray paint and I don't know what else it is. But that is not food. It's saying like, oh man, people tell me diesel engines last forever. So I feel like I'm just going to start putting diesel in my gas car, see if that works. Now, that doesn't sound very smart. So logic is just something that's, common sense isn't so common, if you know what I mean. And then just the quality of the diet. You want to have a good quality diet. I'll tell you why. There was a time back in the day where I was in high school and I would be eating legitimately, it'd be like Cheetos straight out the bag, the big king size ones. I'd be drinking Dr. Pepper 2-liter bottles a day. I mean, daily. And back in the day, they were like 79 cents for those things. I mean, anybody could have bought those, back in the day. So, it wasn't the best of diet, Red Baron pizza, Arnold Palmer's, Sour Patch Kids, and then for breakfast, it'd be like Fruity Pebbles, Lucky Charms, or Trix. I switched from Trix after they switched from the shapes. They got boring. Yeah. Even cereal nowadays, I don't even try to do the cereal because if you see in the stuff, and I even look at the ingredients now. I never used to do that, and now that I'm just trying to see what it is actually in this stuff, you eat it for years, and you're like, at least let me see. You've been eating it for 10 plus years, And you just see all this like genetically modified stuff. It literally has no shame. It says there are genetically modified ingredients in these contents. I was like, oh, they have it even in bold letters. That is not the way things are supposed to be eaten. It's just, if you do that genetically modified food over and over and over, you'd be amazed at how many things you think are healthy that are absolutely the antithesis of healthy. I'll give you an example here. So, McDonald's, back in the day, they had those salads in a cup, like the McShakers, and then they would, market that as the healthy option over there. McDonald's, like, oh, what should I get? A number 4 double quarter pounder with cheese, make it a super size here with a Coke and a fries, or let me get this chicken salad in a cup. Well, I'll just get a medium Diet Coke. I'm trying to be healthy. That's the kind of people you're talking about. I mean, you're getting a salad in a cup and Diet Coke. I mean, what kind of people are you talking to here? Diet Coke. Just get the regular Coke. Aspartame poisoning. I mean, if you're going to be drinking Coke, drink Coke. It's like, well, I'm just drinking this beer right now. It has low calories. If you're going to drink beer, you better have it where you're drinking the beer that you like. Don't be drinking this low end, whatever it is. What the hell is that? I mean, it's just water that they just like run off from the other beer that they're like, yeah, we'll just, market this and put it on a Budweiser and, see, everybody loves this stuff. It's like, oh gosh, But if you eat better, you're going to feel less sluggish also. Because you wake up, and this is going to be the main thing that people are like, oh my God, I never have any energy. It's always just, oh my gosh, I wake up and just want to go back and, go back to sleep. All right, well then from there, let's figure out what were you eating before, and let's see why that's making you feel that way. Okay, well tell me. Well, I was eating, a Chipotle. Oh, okay, well, it's just a bean burrito with, a pound of cream cheese and all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, all this stuff isn't healthy. Like when they have it where they're making this in these chain restaurants, they're probably using ingredients that are at the highest quality to make margins. So you always have to think about restaurants are making money. They can't have it where they're just slapping the most expensive ingredients and, relatively undercharging you, because that's not going to last too long. And especially nowadays, people are now realizing how important it is to have a good immune system. And if you're eating good food, you'll be sick less. So your body will be able to fend off all of the bad viruses out there so that you can have it where you're not going to be, calling off of work or missing important events that you need to get to because you're sick and you don't want to expose anybody to it. Lots of things. There's nobody that I know that wakes up and go, it'd be a great day to get sick today. Oh, Lord. Woo! I feel like shit today. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good one. I don't think that's going to happen. It's just like car insurance. No one ever goes, oh, man, it's a Monday, feeling like a fender bender. Unless you're a lunatic. And also cooking will make it where if you have a significant other, that will just show your love for them. If you always are going to be cooking different dishes that they like, they just tell you, they just say, oh, I like this dish. You go on the internet, you learn all the different techniques. It probably just takes you about an hour and a half to learn it. Unless it's like you're trying to cook some osobuco or some crazy stuff. And that makes it where you have a bond with that person that shows that you would take the time to learn whatever they like. If anybody does that, it doesn't have to be just cooking, it could be anything. Just showing that you take the time to want to cater to the other person. So nowadays, it just seems that everyone wants to be just distant from each other in the sense of like, oh no, I don't want to have it where I'm showing too much emotion towards this person. You know, I don't want to show too much interest. It's like, what's cooking? No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? I mean, there's no basically spice. I love how I'm using all these puns, but there's no spice. Like right now, there needs to be guys that can go out there and be like, look, I know how to make a easy citrus chicken rice, like a chicken and rice bowl with a little bit of whatever it is, just simple recipes. And if they can consistently do that, that is such a confidence booster that you can just go anywhere and just say, I need to go to the grocery store. I get these 3 spices. I get this kind of chicken and do the marination, get home. And then if anybody's coming over, I share it to them. Oh, then they love it. The compliments are coming. And then you just have it where you want to learn more and more different recipes, because just the joy of seeing other people smile and have it where you're, bringing everybody together with the food, that's a whole different angle there, because they're like, whoa, this guy can cook. Just like if you can play music, sing, if you can have any special talent that is something at the party that would be very wanted. Who doesn't want somebody that can cook some good food? I mean, that it's so much better to be like, oh, okay, so my buddy knows how to grill or saute XYZ. Well, let me bring some friends over, and that's going to be definitely a lot better than going out to the restaurant here if the lighting's off, if the music's off, because you get to have it where the music is what you want. You get to have it where it's the venue where you want to cook it. Everything's a win. And if you have a good vibe about when you're cooking there, and it's like, hey, what's going on? What do you guys feeling here? You guys want a little bit more spicy? You guys want... It's just a dance. Like if you're really cooking over there in front of people, if you have like an open concept kitchen, that's over there. You're performing. Okay, boom, 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 boom. You say, okay, how do you like your burgers cooked? Oh, I like them to be, well done, or I like them to be medium rare. And if you really want to be impressive, stop with this whole asking people what do you want the temperature and cooking them all like medium well or something like that. Like if they're going to ask you for a temperature, you're going to make it that temperature. You better have it where you have the temperature pro, because that's just like, what are you doing out there? Wasting time, basically, if you're the grill person and you're just asking people stuff you're not going to do. Yeah, I'd like a steak. Yeah, I just have hot dogs. Okay, well, But if it comes down to it, though, when it's all said and done, cooking at home is just the new level of skill, because you're never ending going to be having it where you'll learn to make dishes that you always wanted to make it before, but you're kind of scared at how can I cut these kinds of onions? How can I mince this kind of meat? What are the basting or egg whites, all this other stuff. But once you start having some confidence with yourself after a couple cooking classes, that really breaks out into a complete different person of, it's like music, like you're creating your own music there. And it could be something that somebody's like, oh, I don't know if that goes together. Well, I'm taking a guess that the person that came up with chicken in waffles, probably the first person that heard about that is like, that is a stupid idea. And now see how many people are eating it. I love chicken and waffles. You have a great piece of a fried chicken and a nice fluffy waffle with some good maple syrup. Woo! And also, like, oh man, like they have this place called Kush down in Miami. This is a restaurant. I mean, it's not cooking at home, but they do have this chicken and waffles, and they have a guava beer. Such a great place. It's in Wynwood. It's called Kush. Great place. But Gene, just to end the episode here, really, it is something that I've never had a complaint when I show people like videos of actually like how to start cooking at home and saying what they need to buy, just basic stuff, the kosher salt. And they're like, oh my gosh, this tastes so much better. I was like, yeah, well, if you have a little bit of training in these cooking classes, you're going to have such a better time. And you could be meeting all sorts of people. If you want to do it where it's a private class where you're like, oh my God, I don't want to be embarrassing myself. There are some people that just would rather have it. I like private classes because I just want to have it where I'm zoned in and I'm not distracted. That's just me, especially like in music. I like to have it where it's like a one-on-one. so that I'm not distracted. Like, give me the notes I need to do, the lessons, what do I need to move on? Everything is just a preference. And that's what it comes down to. And that's the beauty of cooking, is it all comes down to personal preference. If you're a vegan, you can make sure all your food's vegan. Same with the, if you just like different kinds of steak, you can choose if you want to have it where it's a choice cut or a prime cut. Everything's up to you. So, well, guys, I really appreciate finishing up this episode here for Cooking at Home. The next episode is going to be cigar lounges. I wanted to really go into depth as a cigar smoker myself, what the differences are of very high-end cigar lounges that have proper tobacco representatives, and then your just strip mall tobacco shop that has really no idea what's going on except to read the brands off and say, I think people like these. So, well, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time here to listen to me. I want to say that the next episode is going to be just another work in progress for tomorrow. As my Tuesday episode comes out, I'm going to have episodes coming out for tomorrow through Friday. And then the weeks ongoing, I'm going to have it where it's Monday and Friday releases of new podcasts. So, guys, on that note, you guys have yourself a wonderful rest of your day.
You've been listening to the Observation Station. We find everyday life and everyday situations hilarious. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And be sure to tell a friend about the show. That would help too. See you next time on the Observation Station.